This is the Crazy Over 40s Live podcast, where every Thursday you will have a pirouette of rotating co-hosts, including myself, Caroline Brown, that will delve into topics relating to the over 40s. For aware of this notion that you're going through a midlife crisis, we're going for a crazy over 40s life. It's the time to uncover and rebirth our adolescent years filled with curiosity and all our desires. We do it right here on the Crazy Over 40s Live podcast. We look into relationships, emotional, sexual, financial wellness, entrepreneurships, providing you with an enjoyable delivery every Thursday. And don't forget to share and subscribe so you can keep updated on all the episodes as and when they become available. I hope you enjoy this episode. Hello, Crazy Over 40s Live listeners. How have you been? How has the festive period been for you? We are approaching the end of the year and the beginning of a new one. And it's about time we find out how to become the master of our own success. Christine Mayer, who is a life coach, and she helps successful and influential, passionate thought leaders fearfully create, the life through a masterful understanding of their own empowerment. She said the answer lies in you. So if you want to know how to become your own expert, join us after the interlude. Don't forget to share and subscribe. And I'm your host, Caroline Brown. Audience, as I promised to you, I have Christine Mayer here, who is a life coach and the author of Keep It Simple, Smarty Pants, Stop Overthinking. Hello, how are you, Christine?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing very well here in the UK. It's so lovely to have you on because I find this time of year, people always like to kind of re-engage, about what's happening in their life, and also later on in the year around Christmas time and the New Year. But any time is a real good time to really stop and think about where they're at now. Just tell my audience a little bit more about you and the work that you do. What brings you on today's podcast?
Well, it's my mission really to empower, educate, and uplift. So I work primarily with impact-driven founders, CEOs, and VCs, also media personalities and athletes. And my primary purpose really with anyone is to assist people in living a life aligned with their purpose, values, and internal compass. Mm-hmm. And for me, that's really important because without following your own compass, you're constantly looking outside of you for guidance. And while people come to me for that guidance, what I'm really pointing them back to is the understanding of their own compass, the understanding of their own internal wisdom and how to interpret it and how to really come to trust yourself so that you can understand your thoughts, understand your perspectives, understand your beliefs, and bring all of that together in a simple way. My secret sauce is evaluating things really in a simple way so that you can live your life understanding who you are and live your optimal self.
Sounds fantastic, actually. I need you.
That's what I hear a lot whenever, I'm a coach and for business people typically, but it is really about you and the relationships you have with everything that you think about in your life. And whenever I say I'm a life coach, the thing I hear most frequently is, I could use you in my life, which...
And it's not a joke either.
Yeah, it's not a joke. It's not a joke. But really, the point is for you, whoever I'm working with, you to become the master of your own life.
And you mentioned that you work with people who, and this is what I love about the work that you do. You start off with, you are successful. So you're building on what you already have, essentially. And you describe, about the people, the clients that you have. So why would they need you? If that makes sense, if you already have the success there, Tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about that, because I love the way you see things.
That's a great question, because you would think, well, most people who would want a coach of any kind, right, are struggling
Right.
or are bumping into things. And that's not to say that the people who are coming to me are not bumping into things. It's simply that they have figured out a way to success in some kind of way, but that emotional piece, a lot of people struggle with that emotional piece and
Mm,
feeling like life is chaotic and out of their control. And
right.
what I help them understand is that they do have the power to create more of what they want, but feel more in control. And so I teach that emotional piece and how it fits into business and personal, because there's nothing outside of you that is happening outside of you.
Right.
It really is
Yeah.
coming from you. So the successful people have understood, come to understand, perhaps
Right.
to some extent falsely, that it's their action that creates, but they're feeling like there might be something missing, or they're missing a piece, or they understand that they're struggling a little bit more, or making a little bit harder, or efforting more than. And so
Mm,
when they come to me, we really address that piece of, here's how you create your reality. Yes, it is through action, but it is first in thought. And that's not a an idea that hasn't been presented before, but I'm really good with those nuances and those little particulars of understanding how you do create and how you do manage your emotion content, how you do direct your emotional content based on the thoughts you're thinking, and that information, that feedback that you get. Most people do not understand what that feedback of those emotions are. And when you start to get that bigger picture and apply it and let your life teach you with that understanding, because my words are offered here and you might resonate as you're listening, but without you living your life and applying about, you don't really get it. So
mm.
applying the knowing to the doing, then you unstoppable. You were already at some level unstoppable, but now you're really unstoppable. And you
Mm.
feel empowered when you have this knowledge.
Mm. So, I mean, it's wonderful, because people, I find, as their business grows, or how the more the ideas grow, the more they feel overwhelmed, as you describe. The feeling of, can I continue to do this at this magnitude? It feels like it's so overwhelming, is that they don't know where to start, and that's things seem slightly out of control. Um, how, where does that actually come from? Where does that panic come from?
Oh gosh, it can come from many, many places, and it really is
Mm,
is based on the life that you've lived, the thoughts that you've thought up until now, your perspectives of your now. And
okay.
that overwhelm becomes when you're trying to put forth more action than
Right.
you're energetically ready for. And so there's that resistance, there's that push pull, there's the contradiction. And really, most people are unaware of how much contradiction they have in their language
Mm,
and in their thoughts or their approach to things. So they say, I want this, but, uh, or they focus more on the problem and they're not aligned with the solution. And so the understanding that grows from coming to know the bigger picture, coming to know how these little pieces come together is really helpful. So the overwhelm comes from your perspective in the moment.
mm,
The out of control, the feeling of chaos, the feeling of something's missing does come from where are you putting your attention? Where's
mm,
your attention? Where's the majority of your attention? Or where is your attention flip-flopping from
mm.
from the good to the bad?
Yeah, from the good
Air
to the
quotes here with good and bad. And
yeah.
so, but it really is about how are you perceiving things in this moment? Is this from
Mm,
an aligned perspective or from a perspective of fear? And if you continue from that feeling of overwhelm or the feeling of fear or the feeling of injustice or the feeling of anxiety, feeling anxious, and so on, then you just continue to perpetuate that point of attraction within you. You are
mm,
attraction. So how you feel is always letting you know what you're in the process of creating. And as you react to life, then you perpetuate it.
mm.
And so the idea is to learn how to understand your reactions. I'm not faulting a reaction to life. Conditions happen outside of you all the time, coming from you, that you're rendezvousing with. But you can have the ability to understand what's happening, and then you can have more control over the direction of your thought, the direction of your perspective. You can get a bigger picture view. And when you step away from a really short-sighted, very specific view, you can feel relief, you can feel better. And from feeling better, then you have a better approach to a solution. You're more aligned with the solution, you're more aligned with the next step. But if you stay in your little circle with your tunnel vision, if you will, of a specific problem, you'll never get out of it.
Mm. What do you find the most challenges you find for the over 40s?
The over 40s start to, well, maybe perhaps a little bit before, but around 40s, you start, this has nothing to do with business per se, but people start to think about aging and what that will do to their body. And they start entertaining the idea of decline. They have observed it outside of themselves and watch that happen. And so there's a level of expectation that is there that most of us don't even know about. You look out into the world and you see people moving through time. And I like to use the term moving through time rather than aging. Moving through time feels natural and easier, right, and part of the journey of life, the game of life. Whereas aging, do you not? I know I do. When I think of aging, I have some sort of a preconceived notion of what that is.
Yes.
And so as we move through time, there is a level of expectation that you've come to that is worth considering. What do you expect as you move through time? What are you expecting? What are you setting yourself up with? So again, in my coaching, while we're addressing often the business and the life part, it's all relatable. It's all, what are you expecting? What do you think? What are you pre-paving from here? And now is a really good time to start considering what you're thinking about relative to that moving through time process, and start defining for yourself what you want rather than assuming. What have you assumed?
Yeah. What have we? Yeah.
What have you assumed? What are you assuming? What do you believe about that? And therefore, what do you expect? Because what you believe will set up your expectations. Is that what you want? If it's not, then start considering, what would you rather believe? How would you rather feel? What would you rather expect? How do you want your life to be as you move through time? So that's one of the things, certainly. And then reassessing, have I done enough? Am I where I want to be? And that's often one of the catalysts for people coming to me. They're living a successful life, but am I where I want to be? I want to do more. I feel like I have more potential. And I want your audience to hear that everyone feels, we are born desiring, and desire for more is not wrong. Desire for more from where you are, even if you're living a really great life, is a natural process. We all want more. We're born wanting expansion. We're born wanting to discover, truly. And so in the 40 age range-ish and plus, you start questioning, have I done what I want? Am I reaching my fullest potential? That's a perfect time to come to me.
Perfect time. And you do talk about, the truth being that there is a simple way of doing it. I know you have a book out. Can you tell us what listeners, readers can find in your book?
Well, what it does is it brings the principles of the laws of the universe and who you are together. And it helps you understand how you're creating, how you've gotten to where you are, how to get to where you want to be, and also making peace with all of it. It brings all of the pictures together. So I address understanding that you are an energy being and you do attract. That a big part of that is that you do have a soul perspective. You in your body are not the only thing that exists here. You are in conjunction with, creating with your soul. And So I go into that, and then your emotions are incredibly important, and probably not for the reasons that you think they are. We have misconceived, we have misunderstood emotions, really. And to understand them, you need to understand that you have a soul and how your emotions relate to the relationship with your soul. And what that is, because you are born with an internal GPS, and it has everything to do with that relationship with your soul. And then next, number 3 is reality doesn't happen to you, it happens from you. So understanding those foundations helps you master your creations, helps you master the direction of your energy, because we are energy beings. And if you don't understand the energy, and if you don't understand those pieces, then you do start to wonder, well, am I not getting what I want because I'm unworthy or not good enough or not deserving or, but it has nothing to do with that. It's just a simple, truly simple misunderstanding of how you create. And then I address a few false premises. There are many, many, many more. I could write a whole book on false premises that so many of us have or still are living our lives under. And then the steps toward applying this knowing you have a soul, your emotions are important, and reality doesn't happen to you. The steps, some action steps, if you will, on applying it. So we want awareness of how I'm feeling, awareness of what's going on, which I've explained in the previous chapters, owning where you are, owning it. It's okay if you're mad or if you're happy. It doesn't, it's just information for you to then guide yourself. And then the next 2 steps that follow that. So, and I break it down really simply. It can be a very complex or overcomplicated subject. And so I do my best to really keep it simple and bring to you, deliver to you some really impactful statements that will stick with you. And my book is designed so that you can open it up at any page, really, and grab a reminder. It's best to read it from front to back first, but so many of my readers have reached out and said, I read this book over and over and over and over again. I leave it on my table and I open it up to a page, and it's exactly what I need to read. So it's the book that keeps on giving, which is what I really intended.
Well, his name's part of his name, Smarty Pants. So you've done a great job at that.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome. If someone wants to get hold of you, take advantage of all your knowledge, which seems a lot, how do they do that? How do they get a hold of it? And are you virtual? Can you communicate with anyone all over any part of the world?
Yes.
Okay.
Anywhere in the world, I work with people, and I've been doing this for 20 years that way. So it's been a really fun ride. Anyway, I'm very consistent across all of the social media platforms. I'm ChristineMeyerCoaching.com for my website, and Christine Meyer Coaching on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. I'm not a big social media person. I show up and I'm there occasionally, but if you really want to talk to me, then you have to email me, and there's a free download of part of my book off of my website that you can sign up for. So I'm kind of all over the place, and I do drop in and check in those places. And I'm always happy to hear from certainly anyone who wants to have a great conversation, and also who wants to give me some feedback on my book. Let me know how they've applied the concepts, the principles in the book.
Wonderful. Well, you heard that, listeners. Any parting words for my audience?
I think that keeping it simple is one of the best approaches to life. Understanding that you really, truly can be happy, and keep feeling for the next best feeling thought from where you are, because the ability to be happy is unlimited. The ability to find joy in any moment is unlimited. And that truly is what you're born here knowing. And so I highly encourage considering the idea of, can I be happy? Can I be happy even when, or even if, even when there's a condition happening, even when there's something happening that I don't like? I don't have to like that, But can I set that aside for now and focus myself into feeling good? Because when I do solutions for that, I'm contributing to solutions for that, even if it has nothing to do with me. In this world right now, there's a lot going on. I get it. And we can all be reacting to those conditions. We can all be fitful about it. And I get that, but you're contributing to the problem when you're fitful. You've got to find a way to soothe yourself. You've got to find a way to feel better. You've got to find a way to put your focus on something else so that you can be a contributor to the solution.
Right, she shared all her details, but if you want to get hold of all my guests, including Christine Mayer, you can. My social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, the CreateOverFortiesLife.com website. Right, on the 5th of January, we shall be joined by Gavin Sekira, who is the founder and CEO of coaching and mentoring organization Break Free from Corporate and Reset and Revive Thrive. He's an international speaker and author, and he's also a podcast host, Break Free from Corporate. He's here to tell us how you can prepare and use all the knowledge and skills and aptitude and put the right systems in place for you to succeed. He's here on the 5th of Jan. And don't forget to share and subscribe so you can keep updated on all the episodes as and when they become available. And I'm your host, Caroline Brown.